Eastern and Little Nature Deity hit an early end with Nemu Matsukura stepping down for health reasons. But the show must go on. Only 2 months later would sangetsusei get picked back up and be given a continuation in the form of Strange and Bright Nature Deity. This time, with Makoto Hirasaka at the helm. Strange and Bright Nature Deity ran for 2 2/3 years between May of 2006 and January of 2009. There was only a 1-month gap between the two serializations, almost as if there was never any break to begin with. Given the similar naming scheme and continuing the same release schedule in the same magazine, Strange and Bright Nature Deity acts as a sort of soft reboot for sangetsusei. Thank you to my Patreon supporters. If you would like to support me and the channel, you can do so on Patreon, link on screen and in the description. Not only will you be thanked in the videos, but will also receive exclusive content such as a look at the 3 tankobon volumes of Strange and Bright Nature Deity. New artist, new name, same characters and shit happening. As I said, Strange and Bright Nature Deity is kinda like a soft reboot as it carries on with the daily lives of the 3 Fairies of Light, as if nothing ever happened between the interim of this and Eastern and Little Nature Deity. In fact, the manga assumes you're already familiar with the 3 fairies as they're barely given proper introductions because, hey, you should have read them in Eastern and Little Nature Deity. It already happened there, so clearly we don't need to reintroduce shit for you. One of the key changes with Strange and Bright Nature Deity is that the art is now being done by Makoto Hirasaka. At this point, going forward, anytime the 3 fairies are involved, expect to see Makoto Hirasaka behind the pen. Not only does he carry on doing the sangetsusei manga going forward, but he was also responsible for the art in Great Fairy Wars. Hirasaka's art is steeped in that moe shit. These fuckers are drawn so small and squishy looking that if you went up and hugged them, they'd probably have the consistency of a soft pillow. No sharp or pointy angles can be found anywhere on these bitches outside of their hair. And the way they're drawn makes them look so fucking tiny to me, especially when compared to how other artists will depict these characters in other works. I think why that is how Hirasaka draws clothing. Outfits tend to be a bit on the poofier side and flares out a lot, and clothes tend to always reach ankle length. All this just makes it look like everyone is wearing clothing that is way too big for them. Like everyone decided to raid their older sister's closet and dressed up in what they found there. Strange and Bright Nature Deity, or rather sangetsusei so far, as a whole, is the definition of slice of life. At least, it's the most slice of life there is in the Touhou print works. Every chapter follows the fairies getting up to their daily activities and antics. From pranks to treasure hunting, starting wars, and even fucking house hunting. The events within Strange Bright Nature Deity are low stakes and rank hella low as major occurrences in Gensokyo. Even their wars don't mean shit. Hell, the manga lacks any real story development until at the very end, and even then that's just, and then the 3 fairies moved and set up shop near the Hakone Shrine. And that's it on the story front. No overarching story, no character development, that's it. While this will eventually change, I feel the Touhou manga at this point in time was made to serve as a juxtaposition with the games. Given how high energy the games are, there's this feeling of whiplash when going between the two. The games take place during major incidents, the exciting parts. Meanwhile, the manga is meant to explore the characters and world outside of them, outside of the more exciting parts. So let's start at the beginning with Chapter 1. It is interesting how the beginning of Strange Bright Nature Deity parallels Eastern and Little Nature Deity, as they both begin with the fairies getting themselves involved with the Scarlet Devil crew. Which that is about the extent of that parallel. Rather than start at the shrine, Strange Bright Nature Deity deviates by starting at the fairies' home before deciding to infiltrate the Scarlet Devil mansion, which is basically all that happens in that whole chapter. Okay, that's not entirely true. Remilia does decide to throw a party for the fairy maids. Now that's the entirety of the first chapter. Every chapter carries this level of simplicity for the most part. With the predecessor series, Eastern and Little Nature Deity, one criticism I've got for it is that it feels like some of those chapters needed some more pages to breathe. Some of those chapters ended prematurely and were a few pages shy of feeling like a complete and satisfying chapter. Strange and Bright Nature Deity differs in structure as, after the first 4 chapters, every chapter is a 2-parter with the exception of the 3-parter at the end of the series. This gives the scenarios within these dual chapters the amount of pages needed for their isolated stories to feel done. Each chapter is about 15 pages of content, which isn't that much. Bump that up to 30 total between the 2 chapters, and that's a good amount to get shit done in. Though that structure change to 2-parter chapters is an improvement from Eastern and Little Nature Deity, I don't feel that it was really enough change to not hinder my enjoyment of Strange and Bright Nature Deity as a whole. This type of story and its format works better for serialization rather than compilation. These chapters were originally written for serialization. These chapters were designed to be a quick taste, a short gag, a brief comedic and lighthearted story that you'd read in between whatever manga came in that month's issue. It's the same principle as an episodic comedy. You put on an episode here and there. Fine, great. I enjoyed my fix and I'll catch another episode or some shit later. But if you fucking marathon something like that, you end up getting kind of bored and exhausted with its structure after a while. You can easily breeze through a good narrative, but slice of life is poison for that shit. And so, reading Strange and Bright Nature Deity as a compilation of its chapters years after its serialization concluded, I feel hinders its enjoyment. At least it does for me. Oh, just don't fucking read it all at once, but nothing is stopping me from not doing that. The next chapter is right there, and if I've got the time for it and I'm still in the mood for reading some manga, then I'm gonna fucking read it until I hit my exhaustion point or I exhaust through all the chapters available. I don't know, this entire point probably doesn't mean shit if you're a slice of life junkie, but I'm not. Honestly, if someone told me that they don't care for or just straight up didn't like the Three Fairies, I wouldn't be surprised. Every year there is a popularity poll for each character in Touhou project, and the Three Fairies have never scored very highly on it. Hell, even on their debut year, Star Sapphire ranked the highest of the trio, debuting at 49 out of 71. Recency bias be damned. And she only got that high to begin with because who the fuck is actually voting for nothing characters like Giant Toad or Bake Bake or PC98 characters as a whole? Even then, they ranked lower than other nothing characters like Unnamed Book Reading Yokai or Layla Prism River, a character who doesn't even have a design. And these fairies are the main fucking characters of their own manga series, and yet most people just don't give a damn about them. I think there's two major reasons why they tend not to be all that cared for. The first is that they are brats acting more mature than they are. Sipping on coffee, sipping on sake, sipping on lean, reading the morning paper, talking to bankers about a home loan, these three little bastards keep acting as something they aren't. They're basically children, but they present themselves as more, and I know when I see some little asshole kid trying to act all mature, I wanna fucking dropkick their shit in. It can be annoying, and the Three Fairies carry themselves in a similar manner. The second reason is that the Three Fairies are vehicles to interact with other characters. Other, more popular characters that solely just being on the page are upstaging the Three Fairies. When the camera shifts from Reimu or Alice or Aya back to the Three Fairies, I'm just like, no, stop, go back. But it really feels like the Three Fairies are primarily created to interact with the other residents against Sokyo, and you can even see that in how the fairies are never given a chapter to themselves. In each of these 25 chapters, either the fairies will directly involve themselves with other characters, or the camera will cut to someone else. They are, for some reason, not allowed to operate in isolation. Not fucking once. There's 3 characters here, and there's not enough personality between them to carry a chapter by themselves? I don't believe that, but it seems weird that that's the case. If someone told me that they didn't care for or just didn't like Strange and Bright Nature Deity, I'd get it. Compared to everything else Touhou that I've read, including shit that I haven't yet covered in videos, sangetsusei as a whole isn't that high up there for me. Do keep in mind, I haven't yet read the next 2 sangetsusei series yet, so I can't comment on that yet. Now, this might be because I'm not the most partial to slice of life to begin with, there's nothing wrong with the occasional slice of life episode or chapter, but I need more substance than just that. Being in the future, I know that there's more to sangetsusei. As of right now, there's still Oriental Sacred Place and Visionary Fairies and Shrine, neither of which I've gotten to and read as of making this video. For all I know, those could be better and could end up changing my opinions on sangetsusei and the 3 Fairies of Light as a whole. Who knows? It could grow on me. Or they can grow more distant. I can say that, right now at least, that the 3 Fairies are far from my favorite characters. There's nothing I can say that Strange Bright Nature Deity does wrong. There's also nothing I can say that it does amazing and makes it stand out. Strange and Bright Nature Deity just isn't to my preferences.